Hi, welcome to our 5th AI in 30 session, and today is going to be about Gemini Gems. Just to recap, our first session was just an overview on Gemini, how to navigate Gemini. Then a very important, our second session was on prompting for success. And then our third session was on NotebookLM. And then our fourth session was NotebookLM in the classroom. Today we will be talking about Gemini Gems. And then next week on November 19th, we are going to be discussing how Gems are incorporated into Google Classroom, just like NotebookLM is now in Google Classroom. So thanks for joining us. All right, so I'm going to go through this presentation and then I'm going to jump into Gemini and show you an example of some gems. So let's get started. So what is a Gemini gem? So I was thinking of an analogy that teachers might understand, and me as a former teacher, I was thinking that Gemini, the standard Gemini is like a substitute teacher. Very capable, but she needs or he needs very detailed instructions every single time that they come into your classroom to help you. Now, a gem is like a dedicated student teacher. You only have to give it the instructions once, very detailed instructions, because we've got a brand new student teacher. So after that, your gem remembers exactly who it is supposed to be, what it needs to do, and how you like things done. So it's a custom version of Gemini that you save for the specific repetitive tasks that you do. So you might be thinking, how is this different from NotebookLM? Because last week we were talking about NotebookLM, now we're talking about Gems. So in my Tech Tip newsletter that you may remember, I broke down what's the difference between Gems and NotebookLM. So the big thing is NotebookLM is built on your sources. And on the flip side, Gems are instruction-based. So it's like the specialist. It knows everything that Gemini knows, but behaves how you tell it to. So think about those repetitive tasks that require a specific style or format, like writing emails, formatting lesson plans, like those repetitive tasks. So kind of keep that in your mind as we go through this presentation. So why do teachers need Gems? So one thing, which we all need, is it saves time. So stop rewriting the same long prompts. We talked about prompt engineering and prompting for success. So a good prompt is about 21 words. And it has a certain format. So it's important that you have good prompts. Garbage in, garbage out. You have a bad prompt, you're going to get bad results. So if you find yourself writing the same prompt in Gemini over and over again, this could be a gem instead of Gemini. And then consistency. You've trained this gem, so it ensures that the output meets your specific standards. Your gem won't forget your preferred grading scale or tone of voice. And then specificity. Create an expert for a specific task, a science fair idea generator, an IEP goal drafter. Or I have one that I just created called the Science Experiment Wizard. And I will show you how I created that in just a few minutes. Creating your first gem, you're going to go to gemini.google.com. It's also in our waffle. And on the side panel, you're going to click on Explore Gems. And then you're going to click New Gem. You're going to give it a name and give it a detailed instructions, which is very important. And then you're going to save it. Also, in that panel, you can preview it so you can test it out to see if it is giving you the response that you want. So the secret sauce. So to get the best results, you want to give it a persona. We've talked about persona before, a task, and then context and format. So persona, who is it? Who is this gem? Is it an expert special ed teacher? Is it a curriculum designer? Is it a master email creator? So give it a persona. And then what does it do? What do you want it to do? Do you want it to re-level your text? Do you want it to create a friendly email? And then context and format. What does it need to know? So for example, our students are 7th graders reading at a 3rd to 5th grade level. They love hands-on examples. So that's very specific. And then that gem, you don't have to put that in every single time. The gem just knows. And then the format, what output do you want? Do you want it in a 2-column table? Do you want it in a chart? Do you want it to use the UDL model, the 5E model? You can also upload resources. So like your science standards or your ELA standards. Here's an example case. The parent email wizard. So your problem is that you're writing professional, empathetic, and clear emails about student challenges. It's time consuming. We stress over these emails. So a gem solution might be a tailored gem to use your preferred, like that sandwich feedback where you do positive, constructive criticism, and then positive and a friendly professional tone. And then your prompt, as you're testing your gem out, draft a positive email to Sarah Hoffman about Susie Smith, difficulty with math or whatever, staying in her seat. Another case would be a rubric creator. So rubrics can be a little daunting. So a gem solution would be a gem that knows your specific grading scale and your preferred criteria categories like analysis, evidence, clarity. And you could even upload examples of rubrics that you've used in the past so that the gem knows, quote unquote, knows the format that you wanted it. Given the parameters of the assignment, it will create a rubric. So while you're creating your gem, there is this, it's a newer feature, but it is a magic wand that will help you rewrite your instructions. So now they're making it even easier. I'd still make sure that you do the persona, give it a lot of details, and then click that magic wand, and it will rewrite your prompt to make it an even better gem. So now, just recently, now you can actually share your gems. You could share them with your department. So you create a standard gem for curriculum mapping and you share it with your team. Or there's a behavior plan drafter that you could share with teachers. Or maybe a PLC. You build a gem together during a professional learning community time to tackle specific grade level challenges. So as a team, you could create this gem and then you just click the little share button and share it out with everyone. Here are some tips moving forward. Start small. So pick one repetitive task that you hate doing, like writing emails, doing your newsletter, things like that, and build a gem. Just play around with it. Then be specific. The more detailed your PTCF, your persona, task, context, and format instructions are, the better results you're going to get. And then iterate. Your first version won't be perfect. If the gem gives you a bad response, go back to the gem manager and tweak the instructions a little bit. I will actually ask Gemini to help me make my gems. And then use that wand, that magic wand. Let the AI help you make a better gem. So now we talked about how to make a gem. There are actually pre-made gems for you, all ready to go. There is a storybook gem, which is insanely fun. As a whole class, you could have your class brainstorm ideas on what they want in this book, and it will create it, and then you could show it to your class on your ViewSonic board, CleverTouch, or whatever you have. You could also think about it for social stories. So I put my school counselor hat back on, and when I was in the elementary school as a school counselor, social stories, we use those all the time. This would be amazing to create social stories. There's also a career guide gem. So this gem acts as a personalized career coach. Perfect for our middle school or high school students. For teachers, it's a great tool for maybe our advisory period. Help students research a career path. Like maybe for a student, what jobs can I get with an English degree? Or how do I become a game developer? What are future jobs with AI? That would be a question that I would definitely ask if I was a senior in high school. And then, of course, my good friend Eric Kurtz has put together a website filled with gems. He has created these gems. So if you go to this website, I'll share this presentation. He has, let me see. I will just go over here to his website. At the top, he's got some instructions here. And then down here, he's got the newest ones at the top. And then so like here, choice board. If you click on one, it'll give the description of the gem. And then you could get the gem link, or you could make a copy of the gem and then you could tweak it to meet your guideline. All right, so let's look at my example. So we're going to go back here. I'm going to put it in the new chat. So I'm just coming to Gemini for the first time. You want to go over here to the hamburger menu. Go down here to explore gems. And now you're in the gem manager. The pre-made gems by Google are at the top. Always click the show more. Here is the storybook. Let me go over to Storybook just so you can have an idea of what the storybook looks like. Okay, so here is an example of a storybook that I created. And all I said was, let's see, here's the first one that I made. So I just said the reader's age is 10. The plot of the story is a cat named Rufus who meows so loud that the neighbors complain, and I want it in a cartoon style. And so it created this cartoon for me. Now I can have it read out loud, so I can click here.
The meow that roared. Lily had a cat named Rufus. He wasn't a big cat. He wasn't a fancy cat. But Rufus had a very, very special talent. He had the loudest meow in the entire world.
I can change that voice by clicking on the little shark tooth next to listen. And it has a higher pitch voice or a lower pitch voice. And then I can listen to that one. Oops, something went wrong.
Lily had a cat named Rufus. He wasn't a big cat. He wasn't a fancy cat. But Rufus had a very, very special talent.
And then I could click through, and so here is the story. That was a very simple prompt and very silly, but just think of the possibilities. All right, so those are the pre-made gems. And then down here are the gems that I have created. To create a new gem, simply click New Gem. Give it a name. So let's say Science Experiment Generator or Wizard. And then give a description. So the description is nice, especially if you're going to share it with other people. And then here are the instructions. So if I click on that little eye, it gives you some information. So what are your gem's main objectives and capabilities, and what style of a response do you want? My instructions are, you are an excellent science educator, skilled at making learning engaging and relevant for students. So I've given it that persona. Now, the task, ask for a grade level and topic, then generate a science experiment that is creative, school safe, addresses the topic, and is appropriate for the grade and aligns with the attached Ohio standards. Then down here, knowledge, I can click add files, upload files, my Ohio standards. There we go. So it loaded, and now I can preview right here. So my prompt, I'll use that same prompt that I did before. So grade 5 sound, and then I'm going to make sure that I'm on Pro. Make sure that you are on Pro, and then I'm going to submit. So I am just previewing it. So this is how you test your gem. All right, and then here is the response. It's got the learning objective. And then here is the experiment. You've got a tissue box, rubber bands, pencils, your fingers and ears. I like that because we've got that stuff laying around our classroom. And then investigating the pitch. So you have thin rubber bands, and then you have thick rubber bands. And then part 2. All right, so that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Now, I did mention over here that there is this magic rewrite. So I could do that, although I'm pretty happy with this, I'm pretty happy with the response that it gave. But just to show you, I'm going to click on this Use Gemini to rewrite instructions. There we go. Wow. Okay. So it definitely added a lot of stuff. So that's the rewrite. Let me click Save. And then I'm going to do Start Chat. And when you start a chat with one of the gems that you created, once again, make sure it's in Pro, but then just say hi. And then that will kick it into gear. It'll get it moving. I'm your science educator. I'm excited to help you find the perfect hands-on experiment to get started. What grade level are you teaching, and what specific science topics are you hoping to explore? And then, boom, you've got a science experiment generator. So pretty slick. When I go back to Explore Gems, Science Experiment Generator, I have 2 now. I can share that. I can edit. Or I can make a copy. I can also delete it. So if I wanted to share this, I just click Share. It brings up the screen that we are so used to seeing this by now. I could put in groups. I could put in WLS everyone. If I only want it available to staff and not students. And I could put an email message, but I don't want to alert everyone because they may not know what that is, but I do want to make that available to our teachers. And I just want to give them viewer access. And it's telling me that I need to give view access to the Ohio Science Standards PDF. And I just got that from the WLS Hub. All our standards are in the Hub. And then I can share. Hopefully, an email did not go out to everyone. So that is how you create a gem. Now, next week, I'm going to talk about how gems are integrated with Google Classroom. So that is very exciting. Oh, one more thing. In the Skinny Snowman, you notice that it says Locate Gem in Drive. That's something brand new that I noticed today. And so you have a folder in your drive called Gemini Gems. So when you create your first gem, it will create this folder, and it puts whatever documents you have with your gem, it'll put it in this folder. And then if I click on this and open it, it will open that gem. Of course, it opens my entire Gemini. All right, let's go back to our presentation. All right. So I'm excited to hear how you are using gems in your classroom or with your team, or call me and I will come to you and we will create a gem to help with a specific repetitive task that you are grappling with. I'd be happy to do that. And I will see you next week when we talk about how gems are incorporated into Google Classroom. Have a great day.